Welcome, everybody, back to another episode of On the Range Podcast with Hogg Tactical and Kelley Defense. I am Mark Kelley, and as always, I'm joined by my friend and co-host, Rick Hogg. How's it going, pal?
Man, Mark, it's going great. Coming to you live from the corner of 5th and Main, where we, the town squires, can try to speak as free as we can. But you know what? It's getting a little sketchy this day and age. But don't want to be Debbie Downer here. Want to thank the viewers, listeners for giving us your most precious commodity, your time to tune in. Guys, do us a huge favor. Hit that subscribe button on whatever platform you're listening to. Leave us a rating review. I don't care if it's a thumbs up emoji, man. Leave us something to help beat this AI algorithm, because this thing is a beast. It's real. It's coming full circle. And you know what? Let's show them that we the people, man, we can stomp this thing. Don't forget, check out warhog.com, kelleydefense.com. Sign up for our newsletters. Don't forget, check out our industry partners page. Save you a boatload of cash with all kinds of savings. You know, here's the deal. You guys want to solve all the world problem in that group setting of the whole OTR universe? Go check out patreon.com/on the range podcast. Buy a monthly Zoom call with me and Mark, where we solve all the world's problems, and we might solve a couple of yours as well. Last but not least, super excited, Mark, OTR training on demand. Go to both of our pages, check that out. Man, we're super excited about that, and start populating that with more content as time goes on. So yeah, but I think there's all the housekeeping. So yeah.
Wherever you are, guys, thank you for making this part of your day. And today we're going to talk about gaslighting. Those of you who are not familiar with the term gaslighting, you hear it thrown away all the time. But the gaslighting is derived from a movie back in the 40s, 1944, an American movie. It was a thriller called Gaslight, where my dude was trying to drive his significant other crazy by changing the gas lights up and down. When she would ask about it, oh, no, everything's good. It hasn't changed. And she went crazy. So that's what they're trying to do to you, folks. They are trying to deflect everything they can from the economy, from the fact that you're paying on an average. The average today, Rick, is over $5 a gallon, the highest it's ever been. Yeah.
God,
and some of those guys out west, and even on the East Coast, man, they're getting crushed, especially up north. So they're doing everything they can. And what do they do when they have problems? And we know back late last year, when they have problems, the old standby, and I don't understand why they think that this would make a difference, is they always reach out to Hollywood and they get a beloved, well-known, everybody trusted actor and throw a mic in front of them or a movie camera like they did with Tom Hanks last year. That's pretty much what we're doing. You remember the whole thing where he said the land of the brave, or the home, the land of the brave. Yeah, because they can't say land of the free, because they're trying to take that away from us.
Yeah. You know, here's the thing, Mark. We are in a very unique time where people's agendas are going to crush this economy, right? So the Biden administration has pretty much said, hey, man, we want the Green Deal, right? We want electric cars for everybody. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Briefs well. But your average American can't afford a $60,000 car, right? And it's not like you've got used electric wagons around. And then, oh, by the way, who's picking up the bill for all this electricity? You know, we won't get into all the rubbish this thing spouts. The problem is what you see with this administration now. You got to think, man. Jimmy Carter, man, my man's doing cartwheels, right? Because he was in essence probably the worst president modern time that this country has seen, without a doubt. However, I got to throw Jimmy a bone, man. He went and said, hey, had the whole gas issue, no problem. Let's do some more drilling. Let's get nuclear energy going. You know, he was at least doing something to make a change and a difference. The only thing we're doing is we're going to classic blame shifting. We're going to blame this thing on Putin, say it's Putin's problem. Yeah, it's Putin's problem because we're getting gas from that sucker. You know,
Yeah.
him invading Ukraine had nothing to do with our gas prices. Nothing. It's got everything to do with you're trying to manipulate your deal. You know, your first executive order was to sit there and crush the pipeline. Hello, McFly. You know, everything this guy has done has shown does not care for us, the common people, you know, we Americans. Hey, if you're up there in the elitist crew, great. But for those of us lonely guys down in the bottom in the trenches, nobody cares. Right. And in essence, I think they're trying to basically kill the lower end of America. So, and we were talking kind of in pre there, I can't remember old girl's name, that senator that made that. Do you remember her name?
Yeah. No, I don't. I think she
Okay.
might be a senator or a congresswoman from Michigan.
Well, yeah. But my point being is his old girl basically spouting, hey, I drove from Michigan to DC and didn't have to fill up, and laughed at the gas prices.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, girlfriend, you and your $60,000 car, which the majority of people in this country can't afford. All right.
No.
And then here's the question of the hour. Granted, you paid for your car, sure, subsidized by the government somewhere along there, because I think they're doing that. But every time you stopped at one of them charging stations, who paid for that electricity? Because the last time I checked, there's no swipe card that says, hey, you need umpteen kilowatts to charge this thing up. It's free. So who's picking that bill up? It's us, the lonely gas-using engine people of America, us dirty birds that have to pay for these freaking electric cats. No way, dude.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. All this stuff is coming downhill, and it always does. Let's face it.
Yeah.
Everything always falls on the back of the American worker, and the American worker is willing to pick up that most of the time because they understand that hard work is really the heartbeat of this country, and everybody out there doing their best and getting up every day. I get it. But the problem with it, you have Elon Musk saying, hey, look, you need to become oil independent. And he's the guy making all these fantastic Teslas.
Yeah.
But they're expensive. And like you said, the average American's income is less than how much one of those cars cost. He even knows that. And he even knows, he sent, we talked about this a couple of days ago. He sent out a letter telling all his executive cronies, he's like, look, dude, it's time to get back to work. We make our guys on the factory floor be here a minimum of 40 hours, and usually they're here a lot more than that. He's making his executives come back and sit in their office and do their job for a minimum of 40 hours a week now because he knows what's going on.
Yeah.
So that's not going to happen. He said, if you don't like it, you can go work somewhere else. Take that, because those phony baloney jobs that they make up, and some of them are needed, but at the same time, you're right, it falls on the back of the American worker.
Yeah, and the problem is the American worker's at the point now that there's hard choices to be made because they've got to go to work to make money for their family. But some of these tanks full of gas are taking food off of people's table, man. I mean, it is getting to the point, ridiculous, all-time high, never seen before numbers ever. I mean, never in my day would I imagine putting down Abraham Lincoln for a gallon of gas. Unheard of, right? I mean, personally for me, coming out of, for those of us who served in Desert Shield, Desert Storm, I always fully believed gas should have never been over $1 a gallon. And
no,
here we are sitting there at, national average over $5 a gallon. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That is, and the excuse or the answer is go get you an electric car. With what money?
Yeah. Let them eat cake. That's basically what they're saying. Just like Marie Antoinette.
And it's like, there's no used battery cars, electric cars. I mean, they're all kind of a brand new person. It's a new relative idea. Come on, man, get off the soapbox of your electric cars and get things fixed in this country.
Yeah.
because you're on a downward spiral. And if it wasn't bad enough for this whole China virus rubbish and shutting everything down that way, if you haven't killed the country with all that crap, you're sure as hell trying to do it now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. All these issues that this administration is dealing with are self-made at this point. They
100%,
created them. Yeah.
100% they created them.
Yeah.
And
We,
the problem is they're doing nothing about it. It's like they're looking, it's almost like, how can we be any worse? And they find something.
oh yeah.
I mean, it
Yeah.
is unbelievable.
Yeah. We have the Treasury Secretary. I'm not even going to worry about her name, but the Treasury Secretary talking about stipends and all these other things, more money putting into the economy through the government, which is rising the
Hmm.
inflation. And she should
Hmm.
know that. She's the Secretary of Treasury.
Yeah.
Anyway, talking about lowering the cost of pharmaceuticals. Look, you are supposed to talk about the Fed and you're supposed to talk about the economics of
Mm.
the huge 30,000 foot view of the economy. That's what you're supposed to be doing.
Hmm.
What are you talking about? How about stop throwing a bunch of unearned and unbacked money into the economy and
Hmm.
continue to raise this inflation? They don't even want to talk about it. They don't even
No.
want to talk about it. That's what
It,
we're
it,
talking about today. This gaslight, they got to do something. So they're instead of coming up with the being oil independent, which we
mhm.
were not 2 years ago, we were
Yeah.
producing more oil than anybody else in the world.
Yep.
Instead of worrying about stuff like that, they're going to try to deflect and say that it was Putin and it was all these other things. Look, the pandemic is ancient history, bro.
It, we were, everything was lined up, right, to make things happen. But again, Mark, I've got to go. Who's this puppet master behind the scenes causing all this turmoil? So, pandemic finally gets lifted, things going, and now you can't get people to work in the ports to unload the boats to start getting supply trains going, right? I mean, we've got a baby formula shortage in this country. So if it's not bad enough, you're trying to attack the adults. You're basically pumping rubbish into the adolescents via freaking all these stupid manipulated boxes. Now we're going to go after the kids. It's like, take a step back, people. It is 100% an attack on the American people at all fronts. Whether you're an adult, adolescent, child, it's like they're coming after you. And if you can't see
Yeah.
the writing on the wall, I mean, it's absolutely amazing. And, we were kind of talking about this earlier today. Look it up in Canada, man.
Oh,
They're
dude.
going for basically mass censorship, for lack of better terms.
Yeah.
They're going to have government controlled media. And in essence, we're at that point now. And the whole comment, live, from Fifth and Main, was the words of wisdom I did, because, dude, the AI technology that's out there will basically give you the information you want. And I guarantee, and I haven't sat down and done a whole bunch of digging on this, so don't quote me on it, but I'd be willing to bet, if you start trying to dig into certain topics, you're not going to find diddly on it.
Oh, yeah.
Be-
I almost
because
guarantee that.
it's not going to be there.
Yeah.
And that's the scary part. When you start limiting information, or when you start changing facts, history is facts, right? So we can look at Jimmy Carter and say, man, Jimmy Carter was rubbish. Yeah, he was. However, at least Carter tried to make some differences, right?
Yeah.
So having dramas with OPEC, do more drilling. Hey, let's get more atomic energy. Try to do things to help the situation out.
Yeah.
And old Brandon, man, he ain't doing diddly. It's
Yeah.
like, stuck to this agenda, willing to kill people over it, in my opinion, and there's no end in sight.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So the Treasury Department Secretary, Secretary of Treasury, is trying to get folks to buy Chinese-made solar panels, which I'm sure are not cheap and they're not free
mm-hmm,
to get. That's your
mm-hmm,
solution.
yeah,
Most of the folks that live in this country aren't in a single family house. What's that
no,
going to do? Oh, well, we
Or
have programs for it. Dude,
it
we don't need your programs. We need to get people back to work and give them affordable gas so that they can get back. What do you think this is going to do to the hospitality and travel industry? It is going to
crush it,
crush it.
dude. Well,
Absolutely crush it.
it's the whole domino effect happens, right? So not only that, excuse me, you've got to look at diesel, the number one fuel that we use to transport our goods across this great country of ours, right? Higher and higher and higher. And who do you think is going to eat that higher prices? We, the consumer. So it's getting to a point you're cutting our throat left and right. You're cutting our throat trying to go to and from work. You're cutting our throat trying to get our products, across the country. It's like, at what point does this thing burst? And I'm telling you, man, you've got to do something to at
Yeah.
least stop this major hemorrhage when it comes to these fuel prices.
Yeah.
And the part is, Mark, it was all basically handed a silver platter to go, there you go. Everything's good. And then, with whatever your agenda, and this is why I got a problem with people's agenda. The agenda is we the people, not you and whatever green thing you think, you know. I love how they sit there and go, well, people's number one concern is the environment. People don't care about the environment, care less. I mean, at this point, people would say, do whatever it takes to get these prices down.
Yeah. They're not going to care about the environment when they can't afford to go to school or work. They're not going to care
Yeah.
about it. They're going to care about going
No.
to school and work.
Yeah.
And Elon Musk realized that. So, getting back to this gaslighting thing, we had talked about it last week when they came with the press conference the last time that the president spoke, and basically saying this is the best economic recovery. This economy is in the best position it's ever been. That's what he said.
Yeah.
They think that the American people are idiots, all while they're shipping by plane Infamil from the UK. Just people aren't buying it. They know. They know. And
yeah.
it's going to be a bloodbath in November. They already have these runoffs, even in LA. They in San Francisco, they threw out that DA.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what's going to have to happen. And I know that the American people are going to respond because they are smart. They are smart.
They are smart. The problem is we're getting to dire straits, point. I mean, it's going to get to a point where you've got basically starving Americans in this country because you're sitting there just trying to keep a roof over the head, maybe put a shirt on their back. But man,
yeah,
you might get a can of beanies and weenies once a week and hope that's going to give you your nutritional substance that you need, because everything, I mean, even food prices, man, everything is through the roof.
Yeah.
I mean, I walked out of the grocery store the other day with like 3 bags, cost me $200. I'm like, what did I get?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yep. It's out of control.
And then the gaslighting on top of it, it's not only is it just, it's just mean. Talk about mean, treating the American people that way, and then and expecting them to not think that they believe that you're going to believe what they say. It's insulting.
The American
Absolutely
people are
insulting.
The American people are a lot smarter than what people think. And granted, you got those that'll drink the Kool-Aid, right? But that's not the majority. The majority of Americans know the deal. And that's why, like you said, 2022, the reckoning, it's going to be a political bloodbath. The Dems are going to get absolutely slaughtered because these morons can't figure out, hey, man, you are crushing the American people. And here's the thing. It's not a shell game. You can't sit there and shift stuff around or say this and, blow smoke. The American people know. And they're getting fed up. And they're getting tired. Because you look at the very values of this country is just being flushed down the toilet. And people have had enough. People are tired of feeling unsafe. I mean, the southern border is absolutely coming apart. We've got God knows how many illegals in this country. God knows what they're doing. I mean, we've seen some of the stuff, but we don't hear all of it. You know, people being murdered and all the robberies. And I mean, you look at all these ranchers, farmers getting their farms and their property decimated by these people. For what?
Yeah.
You know, for what? For somebody's agenda? So you can get some votes, so you can have more power and money. You know what? Here's the thing. You want Rick's opinion? I think there needs to be an impeachment. I think
he's not in charge.
No.
He's not in charge.
And here's the
was.
thing. Dope number 2, she ain't in charge either.
No, she never see her.
She is none brighter. And it's like, what are you gonna do? God forbid you put Pelosi in there. She's a crook. You know?
Yeah.
So you got the top 3 are absolute rubbish. And that's the thing, man. It's like, where do you start? It's like clean house with them, and then I guess the secession comes in as far as whoever comes up next. But it's absolutely ridiculous, man.
Yeah, everything they touch has been an absolute disaster. Everything.
Yeah.
There hasn't been one thing that's worked that they've tried to implement. It's just made everything 10 times worse. And what's the old standby? They go ahead and they grab a Hollywood actor that everybody trusts and bring him in to talk. So let's talk a little bit about Matthew McConaughey. Now, for all intensive purposes, I think what he was saying, I wasn't buying it. I got to admit, I wasn't buying it. But I think he was completely genuine in why he was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's his childhood hometown, I believe.
Yep.
But it's just another way to get the American people behind what they're trying to do. And I don't think we're going to go into the weeds of what they're trying to do as far as the bill that they're presenting. But it's another way to just have someone shill for the president that everybody likes.
Yeah.
You know, the Dazed and Confused guy. All right. You know, everybody likes him.
Sure.
He's a likable guy.
Yeah.
So they throw a mic in front of him and put him up there and let him do his thing. And people, they love him.
But he's missed the mark, right?
Oh, yeah.
The mark is this. And I'll just put it as easy and as bold of a statement as I can. Hold people accountable. So the firearms do nothing. I've got all kinds of loaded guns in this house. They're not growing legs walking out the front door and killing people. They ain't killing me in sleep, right? It requires a human being to make a decision to do that. We are not holding people accountable for their actions. Until we do that, and honestly, Mark, I think it goes back until we get the W&L column back in, Tykes sports and teach them there's winners and losers, we're going to continue to see these problems. But there's no accountability. Yeah. We've got a society that's out of control with violence. And we're doing nothing about it except lip service going, we need more laws. Okay.
Yeah.
We've already proven those don't work. Chicago's your living proof. Okay. The assault weapons ban in 94, that's your historic proof. It doesn't work. No more legislation works. What works is, shockingly, I think it was, it was either 2000, I think it was 2021, 2020 FBI report. There were 10 armed individuals that stopped some type of mass shooting, some type of situation that could have gone catastrophic. Never gets mentioned, right? We never want to mention the good that come out of firearms as well. It's always wants to be the bad. So quit putting these public figures up there. And I got what he's trying to say. All right. And I don't disagree. Sure. I understand. Something has to change, but your something isn't what it is. Because if you want to put an age restriction, okay, how many kids are killed every year in vehicles? Why don't we raise the age that they can drive from 18 to 21, right? Why don't we age the you look at drunk drivers kill people. Okay, well, why don't we take it from drinking age from 21 to 30? I mean, where do you start drawing the line? How about you hold some people accountable for their actions? That needs to be our first and foremost. And you mentioned it earlier, you're seeing it in California where these liberal DAs, they're getting canned, man. People are tired of the violence where these DAs are going, oh yeah, let them out. Don't put the gun charge on them. They don't need that. Because in California, I think it's added 10 years if you're gang or gun. So in essence, you can get another 20 years for being a gang gun related crime. But they're just sloughing it off. So and this is where I have a problem with celebrities, right? Who are they to get up in front? I mean, you're an American just like I am. Granted, you're entitled to your opinion. How come I can't get in front of the White House? How come I can't get up there and say my 2 cents? Why can't I plead for the kids that are being killed from distracted drivers? Why can't I plead for the hundreds of thousands of people in this country being humanly trafficked? In some fashion. Why can't I get up there and say something about those people? Because it's not important, right?
Yeah.
We want to go after an inanimate object, because if you take that from the people, then the government can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
So,
well, what's being taught to the young people now is that words are violence, and it's okay to react violently with words. So what do you think is going to happen when someone don't have all of his marbles, and you got him all riled up because they're saying mean words like, you have to go to work today, you can't stay home, you have to wear our uniform because we're presenting a professional way of how we're looking and doing business. Those are all mean things, right? So they react violently, and they applaud that. The person who leaked the Roe v. Wade thing, that's a hero, not a criminal. But if it was any other way, it'd be a criminal. So we have violence over that. They are feeding it. They're feeding this violence. Absolutely, every day.
That's it. And until that stops, we're going to continue down these roads, whether it's, people have no consequence for their actions. They're not held accountable at the end of the day. If you look at, you've got these different organizations, to include social, that was basically inciting people to riot, to violence. Still to this day, it's okay, go do it, right? You don't like it? Hey, here's the judge's address. Boom. Go out there and brandish firearms and do it. Come on, man. Yeah. Come on. What is?
Why wouldn't they be hypocritical? Yeah. Why wouldn't they be hypocritical about this? They're hypocritical about everything else.
Everything else, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, the only thing I know to do is, here in a couple short months, there's going to be a midterm. And you've got to get representatives in there that stand for your values, that vote for the constituent. Anything personal, right? That the whole term selfless service does not apply to our politicians. Shockingly, it does to our U.S. service members. But politicians, selfless service, lip service. That's all that is. And quit, gaslighting to sit there and shift from really what the bottom line issues are. The bottom line issues is this: we are not a safe country. If you're not, as I dubbed the armed professional, if you don't have your concealed carry permit, I would highly recommend you go get it, and you get some training to back it up. As long as you give it some thought that, hey, if need be, you're going to use that thing. Because here's the bottom line. I hate to say it. I really do. It's not a matter of if, it's when. Yeah. I mean, these savages are out of control, and you see it, especially like out in California, man. These guys are just ripping people's watches, rings, doing all kinds of craziness, and it's okay.
Nobody is blaming the shooter. Nobody.
No,
I'm not going to say that savage's name, because he's the real problem. Guys like him.
100%.
But they're not blaming him at all.
No, it wasn't him. It was this inanimate object that cannot do anything without human interaction.
Yeah.
And it's like that every single time.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, my man's got some things going on upstairs, but we excuse me, we don't want to address that. You know, you're living in an age where violence is okay. Go shoot your neighbor, go do this, go smack whoever around. It's okay because it's in your face 24/7 on that stupid magic box.
Yeah.
Right? And that is where the line needs to be drawn. You want to sit there, you want Rick's opinion? You want to sit there, put restrictions on anything? Put it on all these platforms that are pumping rubbish out. But we won't do that. Once you put something on Apple for them stupid boxes, or Samsung, you know, for whatever their version is, for basically, you know, pumping rubbish into these kids' heads. But we won't. So quit blaming the inanimate object. The human being is responsible for their actions.
Yeah.
And let's start there.
Yeah. And another thing, guys, don't believe that gaslighting, because I can tell you right now, their response to the inflation in this economy, it's going to be raising taxes. I guarantee it. And they're going to tell you that it's not. They're going to have all kinds of speeches and bar graphs and all kinds of things. But your taxes are going up right along with the prices of gas.
Only the richest. We're only going to tax the richest. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, make sure you go check out warhog.com, kelleydefense.com, and click that OTR training on demand. It's your one-stop shop for video training catalog. And also go to patreon.com/On the Range podcast. When you're at our websites, hit those industry partners and click on those savings. Save yourself a boatload of cash. Boatload of cash. Well, this was fun today, buddy. Yeah, hopefully people are picking up what we're laying down. I think they understand what we're saying. This is just our humble opinions here.
Yeah, we're entitled to, Mark. You know, here's the bottom line. This is about, and again, I'm getting slightly worried, but this is about the last form of free speech going, you know, is podcasting, right? This is us putting our thoughts out there, what we think. You know, and again, not trying to get into the whole political side, but things are getting very political and things are getting very weird. And we as Americans need to step up and get that change, and let's make some things happen for the better. And the only way,
and I think they're going to, because we all believe how smart the American people are.
I agree. You know, we're going to let 2022 work itself out, man. Yeah. Yeah, buddy.
All right, buddy. Have a good one, Rick. Keep your eyes open, guys, for the Warhog Words Wisdoms and the Vantage Points, as well as the Romeo Charlies. See you next time. Let's do it again soon, buddy.
You know it, pal.
All right, guys.